Right now, somewhere in the hospital, a woman is screaming in labor. But instead of a baby's cry, the nurses are running away in terror. How did it get to this point? It all started with one person she trusted completely, her best friend. The same friend who smiled, held her hand, and gave her a special herbal drink. A drink she took with all her heart, believing it would finally bring her a child. But what came out of her body on the day of delivery left everyone shocked and terrified. This is the true story of Oma and how her desperate search for a child became her greatest nightmare. If you're watching this for the first time, please click the like button right now and subscribe with the notification bell turned on so you don't miss stories like this. Let's begin. Oma had been married to Femi for 7 long and painful years without a child. Their marriage had started with so much love and hope. They met during their university days, dated for 4 years, and had a beautiful wedding that many people still talked about. In the first few years, their home was filled with laughter. Femi would surprise Oma with gifts. They would go on weekend getaways, and they often talked about the names they would give their future children. But as time passed and no pregnancy came, the joy slowly faded. Femi's mother became the main source of pressure. She was a strong-willed woman who visited their home very frequently, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. Every visit felt like an interrogation. "Oma, how long will this continue?" she would ask angrily. 7 years of marriage and your womb is still empty. What exactly are you doing? My friend's daughters-in-law have given them grandchildren already. Are you a complete woman at all? She refused to eat any meals Oma prepared. She would bring different prayer warriors, pastors, and strange concoctions, forcing Oma to drink them while she watched. On some occasions, she invited younger women to the house in Oma's presence and told Femi, "This girl is fertile. She can give you children immediately." These words cut deep into Oma's heart. She cried almost every night. She began to question her own value as a woman. Femi tried to support his wife at first. He would quietly tell his mother to stop the harassment. But the constant complaints from his mother, uncles, aunties, and even friends began to wear him down. He started coming home later and later from work. Their once beautiful conversations became brief and cold. The romantic moments disappeared. One very painful night, after a long argument with his mother, Femi sat on the edge of their bed, looked at Oma with tired eyes and said, "Oma, I still love you, but this situation is becoming too heavy for me. My family is pressuring me every single day. I need a child. I don't know how much longer I can keep defending this." That night, Oma cried until there were no tears left. She felt completely broken and alone in her own marriage. It was during this lowest point that her best friend Veronica entered the picture more actively. Veronica and Oma had been close since secondary school, over 15 years of friendship. Veronica knew every detail of Oma's struggles. One evening, while Oma was sitting on the floor of the living room, weeping uncontrollably, Veronica came in, hugged her for a long time, and spoke softly. "Oma, I have watched you suffer in silence for too long. This is not fair to you. I know a man called Mr. Wonder. He is respected in this part of the country for solving serious fertility problems. Many women who could not conceive for years have used his herbal medicine and are now mothers. Let me take you to him. I will drive you there. I will even pay for the medicine. You don't have to carry this burden alone." Oma was afraid. She expressed her fears about herbalists and possible side effects. But Veronica was very persuasive. She visited Oma multiple times over the next few days, encouraging her and reminding her of the daily humiliation she was facing. Eventually, the pressure from Femi and his mother made Oma agree. On a dark, rainy night, Veronica drove Oma to Mr. Wonder's place on the outskirts of the city. The herbalist was an elderly man with sharp, experienced eyes. He listened patiently as Oma poured out her heart. The years of insults, the failing marriage, the constant tears, and her deep desire to make her husband and in-laws happy. After performing some consultations, Mr. Wonder prepared a strong, dark herbal potion. As he stirred the mixture, he gave a clear warning. This medicine is extremely powerful. You must drink 1 full cup every single night for 7 nights without missing even 1 day. Your heart must remain clean, no bitterness, no doubt. Otherwise, the results may be unpredictable. He poured the medicine into a bottle and gave it to Veronica. During the drive back, Veronica kept reassuring Oma. Start tonight, my friend. Be consistent. Don't mention it to Femi yet. When your belly begins to show, the celebration will be massive. That night, back in their bedroom, Oma held the bottle for almost an hour. A strange uneasiness filled her chest, but the pain of her empty marriage was louder. She drank the first dose. The taste was terribly bitter and made her stomach turn, but she forced it down. She continued drinking the medicine every night. Some nights she felt weak and dizzy. Other nights she had strange dreams, but she pushed through. 2 weeks after finishing the 7 days, Oma missed her period. She felt nauseous in the mornings. A pregnancy test she bought secretly came back positive. The joy she felt was overwhelming. When she told Femi, he was ecstatic. He lifted her up, spun her around, and cried tears of happiness. We are finally going to be parents, he said repeatedly. His mother's behavior changed dramatically. She started calling Oma my dear daughter, bought expensive maternity dresses, fruits and supplements, and stopped all the harsh words. Family members began visiting with gifts and prayers. For the first time in many years, there was peace and excitement in the home. Veronica visited almost every day. She brought fresh fruits, sat with Oma for long hours talking and praying, and always had a big smile on her face. I am so happy for you, Oma. Mr. Wonder really delivered, she would say. But secretly, Veronica was consumed by jealousy. She had always wanted Femi. She had gone to Mr. Wonder alone before their joint visit and paid him a large sum to turn the medicine into a curse. The pregnancy months were both joyful and difficult. Oma's belly grew very large and heavy. She experienced extreme tiredness, swollen feet, strange cravings, and frequent nightmares. In the dreams, large snakes moved inside her. She would wake up in cold sweat, screaming. Femi would calm her down, saying it was normal. As her pregnancy became noticeable, people around them talked. Some congratulated her, while others whispered that the pregnancy looked different. Oma tried to focus only on the positive. Femi returned to being the loving husband. He massaged her feet every night, spoke to the baby, and shielded her from any stress. Veronica continued her role as the perfect friend, helping with chores, accompanying Oma to antenatal visits, and staying supportive. After 9 long, anxious months, the labor pain started violently one midnight. The contractions were sharp and unrelenting. Oma was quickly rushed to a good private hospital. Femi, his mother, and other family members waited outside the labor ward, praying and pacing anxiously. Inside the room, Oma pushed with every ounce of strength she had left. The pain was excruciating. The doctors and nurses encouraged her. Then, in one horrifying moment, everything changed. The first snake slithered out, a long, lithe, dark creature with shiny scales, hissing loudly as it emerged from her body. The room fell into stunned silence for a split second. Before anyone could react, a second snake followed, then a third and more. Live, twisting black snakes kept coming out one after another. They writhed and coiled on the delivery bed, their tongues flicking, their hissing filling the room like a nightmare come to life. The doctor stumbled backward in pure terror, shouting at the top of his voice, "What is this? Oh my God!" The nurses screamed hysterically. One dropped the delivery instruments with a loud crash. Another fainted on the spot and collapsed to the floor. Others ran out of the labor room in panic, screaming, "Jesus! Jesus Christ! Snakes! There are snakes coming out of her!" Some were shouting prayers at the top of their lungs while others were crying in fear. The chaos spread like wildfire through the entire hospital. Patients and staff in the corridors froze in shock as the screaming nurses ran past them. Word spread instantly from ward to ward. A woman just gave birth to snakes. People gathered outside the labor room, some recording with their phones, others running away in fear. The hospital security had to be called to control the growing crowd. Outside the labor ward, Femi was pacing anxiously when he heard the terrifying screams. His legs gave way immediately. He collapsed to the floor, his eyes wide with disbelief and horror. "Uma, what is happening?" he muttered weakly before losing consciousness. His mother, who had been praying loudly with other family members, suddenly froze. When she heard the words snakes, she let out a piercing scream. "Witchcraft! Demon! This woman has destroyed my son's life. She is a witch. She has brought evil into our family." She pointed angrily toward the labor room, crying and shouting curses before turning and fleeing the hospital in panic, refusing to even look back. In less than an hour, the news of the strange birth had spread like wildfire across the entire city. Phone calls flew from one person to another. Social media was flooded with unverified videos and voice notes. "Did you hear what happened at the hospital? A woman gave birth to live snakes." By evening, Oma's name and face were being discussed in many homes, markets, and WhatsApp groups. Some called it a miracle gone rogue. Others labeled her a witch who had finally been exposed. Oma survived the physical delivery, but that day marked the end of her life as she knew it. When she finally regained some strength and was told what had happened, she broke down completely. She cried until her voice was gone. Her body was weak, her mind shattered. Femi, still in shock and overwhelmed by shame and fear, could not bring himself to face her. Within a week, he abandoned the marriage completely. He packed some of his things and left the house without saying a proper goodbye. His family followed his lead and publicly disowned Oma. They sent messages through relatives demanding that she leave their matrimonial home immediately. "We cannot be associated with such evil," they said. Friends and acquaintances who once celebrated her pregnancy suddenly distanced themselves. Some blocked her number. Others crossed the road when they saw her coming. The woman who had once been surrounded by love and excitement now found herself completely isolated, depressed, and broken. With nowhere else to go, she moved in with a distant relative who took pity on her. For many months, Oma lived like a shadow of her former self, barely eating, hardly speaking, and constantly haunted by nightmares of snakes and the screams in the hospital. She had lost her husband, her home, her dignity, and her future in a single day. Many months later, the full and painful truth finally came to light. Through someone who knew Mr. Wonder, Oma discovered that Veronica had betrayed her from the very beginning. Veronica had secretly visited the herbalist alone before their joint trip. Consumed by deep jealousy and long-hidden envy, because she had always desired Femi for herself, Veronica had paid him a huge amount of money to curse the medicine. Her wicked plan was to make sure Oma would never have a normal child, so she could comfort Femi in his pain and eventually take Oma's place. The friend Oma trusted with her deepest secrets and greatest pain was the same person who had carefully planned her total destruction. This is the complete, painful story of how
desperation, heavy family pressure, and blind trust in the wrong person turned Oma's greatest hope into her worst nightmare. Be extremely careful who you trust when you are desperate. Sometimes the person closest to you carries the greatest danger.